Good morning. This is Daily Hebrew Declarations with Daniel Jedediah Cook, and I'm reading the declaration for today, April the 7th, 2021. The three Hebrew letters we're honoring today are Ayin, Zayin, and Shin. Along with those three living letters, we're also honoring the spirit of counsel, the spirit of wisdom, and the spirit of might. The declaration today reads this: insight, discernment, perception, the place where we have been seated with the scepter and crown of authority in the ages of peace, laying hold of and not letting go of the things of Yahweh. Now, this perfectly fits exactly where I've been over the past several months, where Yahweh has taken us and begun to show us the place of who we are as sons, the place where we do hold a scepter. We hold this place where we can allow things to come in or go out by just the move of that scepter. And you see, the scepter itself begins to talk about a place of being in Him. There's a bait at the end of the scepter that contains a yud or yod. That yod inside of that bait is a place where it's a place of creation. It's a place of beginning. It's a place of allowing something. So it's if you will, it's the enacting of an idea. It's the enaction of a place of the beginning of something new. And you see, in that place where we have the scepter, we also have the crown of authority. And in that place of the crown of authority, we have a place where we are now responsible over what it is that we have just created. And so there's been a big thing inside of me that Yahweh has been dealing with, especially as it comes to the words that come out of my mouth and the things that I say and how I say them, the intent behind the way that I say them. You know, the past couple of weeks, I've been gone to several conferences. We had several things going on at once, and then we had a conference in Columbia, Missouri, with Nancy Cohen, Dr. Yana Sanders, and Darla Fields. Now, in this particular case, I wasn't a speaker at that conference. I was there to learn. I was there to be able to draw from these three awesome women of Yahweh. And it was absolutely breathtaking in the things that Yahweh began to show me during that time that I was there at that conference. You see, there's a place where we need to sit and be able to take in what Yahweh is saying, and then there's times that we need to speak. And this was a perfect chance for doing just that. But one of the things that began to come up was the place of who we are as sons, and the place of where my feelings and my thoughts join together to really form my beliefs. Well, you know, it's funny because you guys have heard me talk about this before, in the sense of what do you see and how do you see it? You see, I was answering or asking these questions ahead of time, as opposed as a place of beginning to see what my thoughts and my emotions were about a particular issue, and it's begun to help me. I love the fact that this way of looking at it added to what Dr. Yana talked about, added to what I had already been shown by Yahweh. Because in the place of where my thoughts and my feelings are, I have to ask these questions. What do you see and how do you see it? You see, in this place, this is where we're looking at it, the place of insight, of discernment, of perception and perceiving. But see, there's another part to that. Now, Dr. Yana talked about it in the sense of emotions. I talk about it in the sense of, well, how do I see this? Because many times when I look at the how, it begins to evoke an emotion. It begins to either evoke a place of joy, a place of peace. It may even be a feeling of fear. Not in fear in the negative sense of being totally afraid, but just this place of a check, if you will. I like to call it the spirit of the fear of the Lord, because there's a check in my spirit that says, hold on a minute, maybe we need to look at this a little bit differently. And in doing so, we begin to see and have an understanding of what Yahweh is doing in us and through us. You see, I believe it's extremely important that we understand who we are as sons, and then be confident in that place of who we are as sons. I'm not going to hold back the things that Yahweh has given me any longer. As he has me release them, I am going to release them without fear or without retribution. because I know that not too long ago, Yahweh asked me these two questions. He said, "Are you willing to say or speak what I tell you to speak?" I said, "Yes, sir." Although I knew that might mean there may be something deeper to that, it may cause some issues, but that's okay. I know I can rest in Him. And at the end of the day, or even at that moment, I can hear Him say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That's good enough for me. "Well done, good and faithful son." Not just servant, but son. So that part of it really begins to help me to understand. But then he asked me a question right behind that. He said, "Are you willing to keep quiet the things that I've asked you to keep quiet? Are you willing to hold on to the things that I don't want you to release right now?" That one seemed a little bit more difficult, because many times my heart is one where I want to begin to speak of something, especially as I begin to have a basic understanding or a basic revelation of them. Because for me, being able to speak of them helps me to be able to work through and understand it a little bit more. Many of you have heard the old saying that if you want to really learn something or know something, teach it, because it gives you the opportunity to be able to work through the questions and so on that go with that. But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper where Yahweh has placed us in the place where we have been seated with the scepter and a crown of authority. You add on top of that He's placed us in the ages of peace, where we understand that peace, and we're beginning to understand that peace even more. And then grabbing a hold of that peace and not letting go. You see, as I began to realize how my thoughts and my emotions work together to really form my beliefs, as Dr. Yana said, or the way that I see it, what I see and how I see it begin to form the way that I do something. Or if you will, the way that I like to call it is by my intent, the intent of my heart. Because to me, when I start talking about belief, I start talking about intent. Because my beliefs and my intentions will form themselves out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You see, it's in that place that we begin to realize even deeper the place that Yahweh has called us alongside of Him to be able to do here in this earth, here in this place where we are laying down the foundation through His word, with Yeshua Himself being the chief cornerstone. We are laying down this foundation for Him to be able to sit His kingdom in this place. A king must come back for a kingdom. And we are becoming His kingdom here on the earth so that He has a place to sit His glory upon. Just as He did with in Leviticus, the Torah portion for this week, Shema, begins to talk about this place of really the first and most beautiful worship service that was, when Aaron and Moshe began Aaron began to put together the sacrifices, and the first time that the tabernacle had been put together, and the glory of the Lord showed up so greatly. The Shekinah glory of the Lord showed up. Not only that, but a fire came down from heaven and consumed all of the offering that was on the altar at once. Could you imagine? The scripture talks about how the people laid down and they were amazed, and they just fell to the ground in awe of what Yahweh had just done. Not only do I believe it was because of what they saw, but I believe it was because of what they felt. Their thoughts and their emotions uniting together in that one place of looking at the glory of Yahweh in such a way that it became an intention of the glory of Yahweh inside of each and every one of them. You see, the story goes on right behind that of Nadav and Avihu, or Nadab and Abihu, the way we like to say it here in the U.S. or in English. And how out of this place of immaturity, they saw what Yahweh had done and began to just ramp up to the place where they walked in and offered strange fire before the Lord. Now, there's a whole lot more behind that story that I don't want to get into right now, but you can see this place where that Yahweh is taking us into, not only of looking and seeing Him face to face, but also that place of honor, that place of respect, and that place of standing as kings under the King of Kings.